All right, welcome to the CycloneDX Cryptography Working Group, 17 July 2025. Ian, you are going to present some findings and some recommendations for support for protocols and algorithms for 1.7.
Yeah, so look, I suppose maybe to repeat myself for the recording, we're interested in kind of adding to the 1.7 the specific protocols that relate to the 5G architecture that are not within the 1.7 today. And there's a couple there. So I suppose, as I say, I'm kind of a novice in this, but I just put together kind of some areas of, well, I drafted everything that's going to be in there. So let me share what I have, and then you can probably then critique it. I have so many open. Apologies, sorry. Which one is this? Twerking XOR. Okay. So actually, this is just a text file. So can you see that okay?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so um, the main area I think is around these kind of the algorithms and the protocols. I'll come to it now. This is everything. It's not just kind of, I suppose some of this is already defined, like the AES and RSA, ECC. I think SHA-256, SHA-3 is already defined. There's Millinage, Zuck, 3G, and I think the HMAC is already, but not the TUAC and the XOR are not defined, those algorithms. So those algorithms, I probably should just do a diff, but this is everything. Oh, you can see here, actually, I did some text of kind of what they're used for as well. So I noticed that you had obviously the algorithm definitions, and then the meta tags, I presume, which explains what they are. We use standard protocols like TLS, IPsec, DTLS. There's EAP, aka, which is not defined yet. Now there's a protocol called PRINS, and it's a 5G kind of, it's I think a compound kind of, it uses IPsec, TLS, and JOSE. But I didn't know if we needed to define that as a protocol, as a kind of a compound of kind of the three, just for definition. But that we can talk about that, if that makes sense or not, or just that we do that in our taxonomy to have some kind of label of that. And then there's the main one is the 5G AKA, which is not defined. That's a protocol that's used for authentication from the device to the network, actually. And again, yeah, so I've explained that here in there. So these are the standards, the 3GPP standards that cover that. And I kind of just tried to sort of do some kind of textual references here, maybe just to explain kind of what's included. But that was kind of the extent of it, and a lot of the kind of, you can see some of them are just they're stream ciphers. So so I don't know what more I need to define to support those. So maybe, based on your experience, Basil, I know you've done some of this work, that maybe you could say, well, you need to define these other bits that are missing, or is that sufficient to just have these tags that represent that? You know, and do I just need to sort of, I suppose, shorten it to the missing information rather than all of it, of course? A couple of questions there, I think. Sorry.
No, and I think that's very helpful. And I think the way we have now in the latest version defined the algorithms, for example, is to have that externally, so not in the core schema.
Okay.
So So that's where things like the additions, I think Millinage,
Yes. Yeah.
WG,
Yeah.
these would be algorithm families basically there, right? Or variants of algorithms. And they could be defined there, right? Or they would be defined there. And I think, Steve, right? So what we said that for the specification or so, or for ECMA, that does not yet have to be finalized yet, right? All the algorithm.
That is correct. What we've done, Ian, for the algorithms is we've externalized them into a separate subschema, and that subschema can then evolve independently of the core specification. Um, that way, we're defining with the specification, we're defining, how things are structured,
Right.
not what can be structured.
Gotcha.
The what can be structured is externally defined in the algorithm family subschema that Basil has kind of worked on.
Mm. Yeah.
And we do a very similar thing with licenses, open source licenses as well. We have strict validation of SPDX license identifiers, but the SPDX team, for example, they update their license identifiers 3 to 4 times a year. So we take
Right.
those updates 3 to 4 times a year, and we incorporate it into that separate subschema. That same process essentially is going to happen here. So whenever there's a need to have an additional algorithm, we can just add it, and we don't have to bump the version of CycloneDX in the process.
Makes sense completely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second part are the protocols, right?
Mhm.
I think there at the moment, basically I think it's not an enum in the specification, but you can basically specify yeah, any string there.
Actually, I think it is an enum.
It is an enum, okay. Or maybe we have
Yeah.
others in there for.
So we've got DTLS. We do not have the EAP. We do not have PRINS and the 5G.
Yeah.
We do not have those defined.
Yeah. So I think it's good to add more there. So what I'm thinking just now, if it could make sense to go a similar way as with algorithm families, also for protocols, to kind of to also have being able to have protocols easily extended, right, in an external schema. Maybe that could make sense to use the cryptography devs definitions and define them there. Because what I have seen here, Ian, is that you also included some details about the protocols, right?
Yeah.
And for the algorithm families and algorithm definitions, we also include some details like like a pattern, how to describe them, and also a reference to the standard that describes them.
Yes.
And I think for protocols, it's kind of the same. It could be the same principle basically followed, I think, right? Also having this data structure with some detailed information about, okay, that's the protocol and that's a detailed description and that's the standard that defines it. Yeah.
So what's the best path forward? I mean, what would you require minimally? So is there anything that I need to provide that would be specific to our needs that would change your 1.7 spec, or can this all be done kind of outside the spec, and it can be, as you say, there can be kind of these sub schemas, definitions, and or within our own taxonomy templates kind of thing? I just wondering.
Are these the only protocols that are missing? Is this
Yeah.
okay? This is an extensive analysis. Okay. Um, it's up to you, Basil. I don't want to sign you up for work that needs to be done like immediately, but we've got two options that I kind of see. One, we can include these 4 missing protocols in the existing enum as it is today, which is a 5-minute change, or we can with the idea, with the eventual goal of externalizing that in 2.0. Or we can take the extra time, and I don't have time to do it, maybe you do, but take the extra time to then externalize this into the cryptography definitions file, so that we have all this just like the algorithm families today. Obviously, that's not a 5-minute change. That's maybe an hour or two change. What are your thoughts?
I can give my thoughts. I mean, what I anyway want to do is to add algorithm families, or to kind of extend that, so I can take the list from you, if that's okay for you, Ian.
I
And
can email this to you, of
yeah,
course, and you
and
know,
add.
and as I say, like it was more to see, is there something that I'm missing that you need from me? And you know, again, you know, I can help to sort of define that better, and you know, even for the external aspect, you know, what needs to be done there, and you know, you can send me a list of questions. Look, I need all this information, or you need to provide this, and you know, and I'm happy to sort of try and you know, give all the information where it plugs in to the best of my understanding of reading the schema, you know, so. Um, but it's just minimally what you need to try and meet the deadline, so that you know we don't have to wait another year, so to speak, for anything that needs to be in the core spec, if at all.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you can send me the file, then I will definitely put them in the algorithm definitions schema, and I might come back to you with some questions if I have some, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Think about, if I need to know, for example, where some of these standard algorithms are standardized and defined, things like that.
Do I have your email, Basil? Sorry.
Yeah, I can, let me put it in the
Within the
chat.
chat.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
And then for the protocols, I think, or my thought is that maybe adding it to the enum right now, I mean, that's a 5 minutes change, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the easy way. And then, yeah, let's see if there is some more time I have available, or maybe, yeah, yeah.
Hey, Matt.
I put a lot of information down here, so like, you know, about the specifications, you know, and even I think, you know, I tried to indicate the sections as well in those specifications, you know, like certainly here the Prince one is in this section 13 of this 33501. Do you need the URLs at all, or is that sufficient just to sort of say what the spec is, you know?
Yeah, we have URLs, yes, in the
In,
email.
okay, so I need to put the URLs in here as well, do I?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
We should probably figure out for the algorithms. We should probably.
You called
Oh
on me.
yeah,
You called on
Yeah.
me, but the discussion kept happening. So I'll just say that I think I agree with. I'm hoping so there's so many places in the vast number of profiles that we have for the spec where we have an enum, and I don't think 1.7 is the time for us to en masse start doing that. So it makes sense for some things. I think that going back to what you said earlier, if something we know is going to change multiple times a year, that makes it a candidate to do so, even in the 1.x timeline, in my opinion. But if we can get a good thorough review and something's not going to change in a smaller frequency, at a smaller frequency rate, then we should probably not do it for 1.x. That's my opinion. Because it puts a burden on downstream developers, because until we have the ability to compile these things back into a single schema, it puts a burden on downstream tooling to integrate those extra schemas.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a good point. So I think we have a path forward. One thing, Basil, the algorithms that Ian has identified that are not in our definition. Let's see, that's the algorithm family. Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of the curves. All right, never mind. So we can very easily add those without any upstream contribution because we're the source for that. Okay, never mind.
And I will note as well that we started doing the build we had the major minor releases, which were less frequent than we had hoped for good cause. But we started doing the build release increments for 1.6. So if accommodating these things in the core spec changes is if we have a more flexible release process that allows us to do build releases 1.7.1, 2, 3, etc. That's another considerations for how.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe think about redoing our versioning. I had to roll back the 161 thing because there is no specification called 161. That doesn't exist. What we use that patch part of the version string for are any kind of technical issues with the implementations of that minor release. So we've
Right.
actually done this previously as well. I don't think we'd had one for 1.5, but I know we've had one for like 1.4 or 1.3, for example, if you look at like the JSON schema and the XML schema. But that patch is really supposed to be implementation specific. Maybe we can think about a different way to do that instead of combining
Yeah.
both yeah, because it's
We
not
need,
exactly obvious.
but being a patch, thanks for the term. Being a patch version, this is to me that adding these things is definitely to me as a patch. It's not just for bug patches, but for
Right,
yeah.
right. So we'll have to think about like how do we do that for the spec versus how do we do that for the implementation, which is the
Yeah,
schemas themselves.
yeah, I think, and my hope is it can be done through just some, prose wording. You can allow for it in just a wording, create a section around, versioning, and
Mm,
and have some rules saying if the change is just to like these types of things, like an enum or things like that, there would be some what would substitute a change if there was a required field change or a change in the structure of an object or something. We could create some wording around that, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we just need to do that. I don't think it's ever been done. Okay, all right. So I think we have a path forward, Basil, right? To accommodate Ian's request.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. That's very good of you. Appreciate it. It's good now we've got three main carriers behind it here in the US and really keen to push this along. So this was a starting. The other thing was I put an incident on for the when you were asking me to register the namespace for the taxonomy, and I did that. I don't know, Matt, is that your domain? Is it?
No, I'm a big proponent of it, but no, yeah.
I don't.
It's usually one of the other folks on the core team, Jan,
All right.
typically does the approvals for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I
But
defer
let
to
me.
I defer to Jan in most core changes because he goes things with white glove,
Oh yeah,
precision. So
No
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
But if there was any questions on that, just let me know. I created a repository on the Attis GitHub that we're going to host the taxonomy on. So I have everything set up, ready for us to start doing the work. And yeah, looking
Okay,
forward to this actually.
good. Did you create a pull request for that then, and was that approved?
I I just created a homepage, like basically a
Okay,
repo with just like kind of I just looked at what everyone else had done that had kind of registered a taxonomy top level name. So I just did the same. So apologies. If I need to do something on that, I'm not going to be the person doing the work on that. So
yeah.
if there's more guidance or sort of pointers on that to get us going. Yeah,
Was the taxonomy, you're envisioning the taxonomy to be called ATIS or?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. So that is not formally registered right now. We'll need to get that
correct.
registered.
Yeah, I put
And
a request in for it, so it just needs to be
oh, you
picked up
have,
and
okay.
processed, I presume.
Oh yeah, I see it right now. I see the issue. Okay.
Okay, so look, I'll send this on, Basil, and I'll put in the URLs as well before I do that. So just give me maybe an hour after the meeting to sort of put all the relevant URLs in as well.
Okay, thanks. I put my email on the chat.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So update on my side is that I don't have an update. I apologize. I was supposed to have started porting these changes over to XML and Protobuf. I have not had time. I've been doing something just as important though. I have made a ton of progress migrating from the old way that we generated the human readable version of the standard using the JSON schema as the source of truth for that standard. We've moved everything over to a new repository and completely refactored it because we're using EC markup now, which is a tool and a specification from TC39 or the JavaScript folks. And so we're generating documentation using GitHub Actions now that automatically pulls like the draft 1.7 spec from the specification repo, builds both the online and the PDF documentation, saves those as artifacts. So all of that, for the most part, there's a few things I still need to work on. There's some issues with the PDF generation. There's one logic thing that I need to add support for, which is in JSON schema, you have one of, any of, or all of. The all of right now is not currently supported. So I need to add support for all of, which is new in 1.7. We actually haven't had a need to use it until now. So I need to add support for that. So again, just as important because this process is what generates the documentation that we ultimately need to give to TC54, the ECMA Executive Committee, and ultimately the General Assembly. So I have made a ton of progress there. Over the next week, I will make progress on porting everything over and over to XML and Protobuf. So I'll have time to do that. So by the next time we meet, that should all be done. Now we probably need to kind of coordinate, Basil. We'll have to coordinate, like, you tell me, for example, when you make those changes to the 1.7 spec for adding support for the additional protocols, since we're going to likely externalize that for 1.7 anyway. So let me know when that's done. I may or may not necessarily see the pull request notification come in. So just ping me on Slack. It's usually the easiest thing to do.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, I've opened a pull request. I mean, not with these changes yet, but of course, but with some others for the test cases.
Oh, right. Yeah. Perfect.
And along with this, so the pull request adds some changes made by me and also by Nicholas because he could not join it. I mean, he might join later today, but maybe not. But basically, we found like in 2 or 3 pieces a small issue in the schema while validating some of the examples. So this pull request contains some changes to the schema as well. And then I could, I still have to check some things here in this pull request, and I could as well add the other changes for algorithms and the protocol for the protocols mainly to this pull request.
I'm looking at the I'm looking at the first change in the 1.7 schema, and it looks like, is that a new property state? Is that a new property, or was that included in 1.6?
I think that's it's a new property,
Okay.
and
Okay.
the issue there, I think, was that it uses this one-off definition
Hmm.
where you can provide either a custom state or a predefined state, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
deactivated. And they, I mean, I also tried this with HAV validating that, but if the two objects of the one-off include properties that are exactly the same, then the validation at least did not succeed. So the
Sure.
names have to be
It doesn't
different.
know which one it is, right?
Yes, yeah. So it
Yeah. Okay.
can
No, that
agree.
makes sense.
So that's what happened there.
Okay. I was just making sure because I see the property name changed, and
Yeah.
to me that kind of looks like a breaking change, which
Yeah.
obviously we need to avoid. But if that's a new property, then we don't
I
obviously
think
care.
Yeah,
So, okay.
I could also share my screen, so maybe you can look at it. So, yeah, that's this change here, right, with name. And then we have another couple of changes is in here, that's in IQ2. The IQ2 definitions. I mean, these are things that we added newly to the specification, and here we have. I mean, what we wanted to do here is that IQ2 has different algorithms basically involved, so like encryption algorithms, then authentication algorithms, key exchange algorithms, and we wanted to define them as arrays. But the issue here, actually, maybe I uploaded the wrong version actually of this file.
Yeah.
Pull request. I mean, the issue here is basically that there is no items that defines the type of the items.
Okay.
So this ref here points to the definitions here of IQ2 enc, but this should be inside items block here. I've seen that here, probably was an issue with uploading that to the pull request. I will basically double check that after the call.
Okay.
And then this addition here is, I mean, this was a comment from a person in the pull request for the 1.7 cryptography, where you CC'd me, Steve.
Yeah.
Where there was basically a question if we could add explicitly here these TLS groups and TLS signature schemes properties to cipher suites, which is mostly used for TLS, right? I mean, it could also be used for some others. And now, because we have for IQ2, we have some specific entries for the protocol. We also have this. Yeah, so the question is if we could also add this for TLS.
Okay.
Which I think is useful because the cipher suite itself, as it is defined, it does not tell the whole story. Like it doesn't say which AES variant. No, for AES actually it does, but it doesn't say which group, like which elliptic curve, for example, is used. And using that, it can be done, and similarly for the signature schemes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
That's useful. Right.
Added a new definition.
That's just one definition, right? so far. And then here are some of the test cases and examples for 1.7. So these are
Nice.
some that Nicholas just sent me before the call, so I didn't have chance to go through them yet, but this is basically using, yeah, it's a certificate, a good example for a certificate using all the new features that we have, right? Here that's a more basic example, and then he has an advanced example here with some, let's see here, so with the certificate state, right? And these additional certificate extensions and attributes all here, right? With all the extensions here in a meaningful way.
That's really nice. Yeah, this is great.
And then, so I made just an example. So that's the example is mostly nonsensical, right? But it's a full definition of all the properties or the crypto properties, right?
Mhm.
Which I think we already had before. So this really defines everything that is possible just to do, to try to do the validation, right? And then this is another new example here or test case for cryptography implementation. So using now the algorithm family, the name here that corresponds to the naming pattern that we have. And yeah, a few more algorithms as well. So yeah, I've seen just now that there seemed to be some inconsistency with what I actually wrote. So maybe I'm missing another push or so or a commit here in the schema. But what I've done basically locally, so I wasn't sure if that's probably done in the CI, right? So the validation, the schema validation here, but I've just run it locally with HAV and they passed the validation, the test cases.
Okay. Yeah, it's failing on our side.
Yeah, it's probably because of the hiccup here
Yeah.
with these definitions, but I try to fix that after our meeting.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll keep an eye on this PR. I didn't realize that this one was there, so but yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one. We run, just FYI, we run multiple different tools to do schema validation. And so those tools are Java, JavaScript, and PHP based. So that's kind of why you see different tests, why their language in there. There's different tools that have different benefits, and they just happen to span across multiple programming languages. So just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll keep an eye on that. And in terms of specification, is there anything else to discuss? I think we all kind of know what needs to be done, yeah?
Yeah, I don't have any more points to discuss.
The next, it's probably too late to get into it now, but we should probably think about what content is going to go in the authoritative guide for CBOM. That's, what do we need to change in the existing guide type of thing, and figure out what needs to be done there. So maybe let's see, next session we can review the current state of your final changes, the XML and protobuf, and more than likely that'll be like the final technical review session would be my guess. And then the session after that, we can actually start focusing a lot on the guide, perhaps, and actually getting that done. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
Ian, Matt, is there anything from you guys?
No, thank you very much for accommodating me and helping with this. And the only thing that and it's a big ask, I know, but the two of the guys that actually, two of the carriers are on the West Coast, and I said that they could join this call to actually get some insights on how to do the taxonomy, but it was early for them. But so if I was just wondering if maybe, I don't know, if you were available just to sort of maybe just for 15 minutes, just sometime over the next week, to maybe just explain what needs to be done on our side to create kind of a taxonomy. And because you mentioned there about doing a poll and kind of that kind of, I was like, oh, so just to make sure that we start off on the right foundation for the work we're doing to do the definition, so that you know, we don't go off kind of at some tangent.
Sure.
So I don't know if that's possible to try and set up with maybe yourself or anyone that's happy to maybe explain to the guys that are going to actually do the actual work.
Absolutely. So I will put a link to my Calendly in the Zoom chat. Go ahead and schedule some
Oh, thank
time
you.
with me,
Excellent.
and
Thank you very
we
much.
can kind of yeah, we can get that sorted. It's really easy.
Yeah, you know what it's like, though.
It's easy for us because we've been doing it, I don't know,
Exactly.
a lot.
It's easy. I know.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll get it sorted. No worries.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything from you, Matt?
Sorry, task switch. No, all good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have anything else. So hey, I'll give you 20 minutes back of your time. I think Basil and I both have some homework to do. So hopefully we can both come to next week's session with that homework complete. Fingers crossed. But have a great day, everyone, and
You too.
I will talk to you soon. Cheers.
Take care now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.